All right, today we are going to make the 5 puzzle cube pieces. I know this video was already uploaded, but something happened to the sound, so I'm going to go ahead and recreate those 5 colored puzzle cube pieces. Before we begin, I'm going to come up here to my data panel, and inside our practice parts project, I'm just going to click New Folder and call this Practice Puzzle Cube. This will go ahead and allow us just to keep a little better organization on some of our parts. Once I have that done, I'm going to come to my workspace and I'm going to go ahead and start with our red part. I'm going to create a new component and then create sketch. Go ahead, use the line tool and draw out our rough shape. At this point, you can see that every time I click, the measurement that it gives is in inches. So you're going to want to make sure that you're drawing this out in inches. If for whatever reason you are in millimeters, you can just come up here to document settings in the top left. And when you go to change your units over here, you have the option to set the new unit as default. So you can make sure to set it to inch, and that set as default is checked. All right, now that we've got our rough shape, it's time to add some dimensions. And remember, these wooden cubes are 0.75 inches on a side. So if it's 1 cube wide, that's going to be 0.75. If it's 2 cubes wide, like we have here, it's going to be 1.5. And if it's 3 cubes wide, it's going to be 2.25. So I can come through, continue to add my dimensions until all of my lines turn black, and now this part is fully constrained. I'm going to finish, click the press pull tool, click the shape and drag it into 3D, 0.75 inches. Now, like I showed you guys in class on Thursday, there's 2 special things we want to do to this guy. The first is I'm going to right click on our component over here and go to physical material. Since these cubes are made out of wood, I want the mass and density to be correct. So I'm going to find white oak and then just click and drag it over to my shape. Next thing, because these are painted, I'm going to take it one step farther by right clicking on my component, going to appearance, and now under appearances, I can go ahead find paint. I'm going to go with glossy and a nice glossy red paint. Close, and I'm going to save this guy as puzzle piece red. Can close out this guy and create our next part. Next up, I'll create new component and we'll make our blue puzzle cube. So I'll create a new sketch and use the line tool to draw out my rough shape. The blue tool is this zigzag shape. And you can see it doesn't have to look pretty on the rough one. But now I am going to use a new tool called the equal constraint up here on the top. When you click equal constraint and click 2 lines, it will make those lines the same length and lock them together so that any changes you make to one will be made to the other. So the top of this blue shape that right now is all over the place, I'm just going to go through and click these lines to make them all equal to each other. So pretty much anything that is 1 cube wide, I'll make equal with this. Now I can go through and dimension that first line to 0.75, and look at that. We're already fully constrained because now every single cube line has been made equal to 0.75. I can finish. When you press pull or extrude, you want to make sure you're in a corner view, isometric. So I'm going to come up here to my view cube, click the corner. Now I can press pull, click the shape, and drag it out 0.75 inches. Just like with the red part, I'm going to change the physical material to white oak. Click and drag it onto the shape. And this is our blue piece. So under appearance, I'm going to find our blue paint right here. Click and drag to make it blue. With that done, I can go ahead and save you as puzzle piece blue. Now those are the two flat puzzle cube pieces. For the green, the white, and the yellow pieces, we're going to require multiple sketches. So we'll go ahead and do the green one next. I'll create my new component and create a sketch. And so to do this green piece, I'm going to lay the piece flat in front of me, and I'm going to start with this big L shape right here. Add my dimensions. Let's see, 0.75, and then it's 3 cubes across, so I'll make you 2.25, 0.75, and then 3 cubes tall, so I'll make you 2.25 inches. Finish, and press pull my first layer into 3D, 0.75 inches. Now to add that single cube in the corner, I'm going to create a new sketch on top and just use the rectangle tool to draw out a cube. Dimension that 0.75, and we're good to extrude. Click our shape and extrude him out 0.75 inches. Just like with the others, I'm going to change my physical material to white oak and change my appearance to some green paint. We can save this guy as puzzle cube green and click save. Next up, we'll do the yellow piece, which is very similar to the green piece, except it's a slightly smaller L. So I'll create my new component, create a new sketch, and draw out my L shape, just like before with the green. Except this time when I go to dimension it, it's 0.75, and it's only 1.5. It's only 2 cubes wide instead of 3. 0.75, and then 3 cubes tall, so 2.25. Finish, and press pull him 0.75 inches. Now I'm going to create a new sketch on top of the part, and I'm just going to create a square from corner to corner there. Finish, and press pull 0.75. Time to change my physical material. We'll go ahead and make him out of white oak. And change my appearance. We will add in a nice yellow color right here. Close out this window. And I'll save this as puzzle piece yellow. Finally, we'll create one more piece. This is going to be our white piece. So I'm going to start with new component, then create new sketch. And so for this guy, if I stand him up how we looked at him for sketching, there's a couple different ways we can start off by building this. I'm going to build him from the front back. So I'm going to start with just a nice rectangle that is 0.75 inches tall and 1.5 inches wide. Finish and press pull that guy out 0.75. So that's our first layer. Now I'm going to come up here to my view cube, click the back corner here because I now want to start a sketch on the back of my part. And this is where I'm going to draw that larger square. And when I dimension him, 1.5 wide, 1.5 tall, and then I want him right in the middle. So from the edge of that square to the edge of the part, I'm going to make it 1 cube, 0.75. Now you might think that this square is on the wrong side, but remember, we're on the back of our object, so the object is turned backwards. I'm going to finish my sketch, go back to my front view. You can also just click the home button. And now when I press pull, I'm going to drag him backwards. Oh, can't forget that square. 0.75. You could also just build this larger back square first and then draw this one on top and extrude it out. That works just as well. There's a lot of ways you can make this. Finally, going to change our material one last time to white oak and change our appearance to white paint. Now I can go ahead and save this guy as puzzle piece white. And if we look here in our data panel, you can see in that practice puzzle cube folder, we now have our 5 puzzle cube pieces, all nice and neat, which will help us for the next video where we go through and assemble them into a finished puzzle cube.